Appreciate it. In the past, I've asked you about shrimp. To cut to the chase, the EU puts phytosanitary standards upon Indian shrimp, and a lot of those shrimp fail. And so India then dumps them on the U.S. market. They subsidize, et cetera. So we're getting stuff that doesn't pass European phytosanitary standards, that's subsidized, that's dumped into our market, and my shrimpers are hurting upon many other problems that they've had in recent years. In the past, you've mentioned you've raised this, but it still seems to be an issue. Other agencies such as FDA and are addressing this. Can you speak to what USTR is doing?
Senator Cassidy, I suspected that you were going to raise shrimp, and so I wanted to come as prepared as I could be. We continue to raise this concern with India. Actually just had an exchange with Senator Cantwell about her concerns with respect to apples and other aspects of our agricultural trade with India. On this, what I would say is I will commit to you that I will continue to raise our concerns, and that I will also work with you as closely as I can to continue to try to find ways to tap the potential in the U.S.-India relationship, including around some of these thorny agricultural barriers that we face.
Now, may I? There's nothing like a tariff to get in nothing like a hanging to sharpen a person's mind, as Samuel Johnson said, and there's nothing like a tariff to suddenly dislodge a barrier. Is it time to review the tariff schedule on the shrimp that's coming from India? And, why don't we?
Senator Cassidy, I will take that as a suggestion and a request, and let me just say that I have noted it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let me ask as well. Mexico, under USMCA, they're supposed to be treating our energy producers similarly to their domestic. It's clearly not happening, with specific incidences of where the Mexican government is clearly discriminating against our energy producers. Can you kind of address those issues and how we're trying to get the Mexican government to live up not only to the spirit, but the actual letter of USMCA?
I'd be glad to do this as well, because this is a really important issue for our economy, and it's also a really important challenge that we have in our relationship with Mexico, which is longstanding and close. So as you will know, last July we requested consultations with Mexico regarding various of its energy measures. We have met with over a dozen companies and industry groups to discuss the issues they face. Last August and also September, we held consultations with Mexico, also in cooperation with Canada, which is also raising its concerns with Mexico. From December to February, the United States, Mexico, and Canada have engaged in a series of sessions to discuss specific concerns raised in the consultations requests. We are engaging with Mexico on specific and concrete steps that Mexico must take to address the concerns set out in our consultations request. In addition, we also expect ongoing monitoring and discussions between the U.S. and Mexico on these issues. This is still very much a live issue.
And what do we have to leverage their cooperation?
Well, I think that a large part of it is Mexico's own self-interest in terms of the strength of its energy market and the integration of that market in the North American
But they
economy.
seem to have a kind of nationalistic viewpoint in which they're willing to sacrifice efficiency and tolerate corruption in order to have the pride of owning their own business. It seems to be an ideological viewpoint, in which case it seems like it has to move beyond their apparent self-interest into something which is living up to the letter of the law. Does that sound right?
Let me just say that all sounds right to me. And we know that all of the tools in the USMCA are there for a reason.
Okay, and lastly, just to build upon our conversation yesterday, any thoughts as to how we can reset or rebalance our trading relationship with China, seeing how they are not enforcing baseline environmental rules, they are polluting the international commons with pollutants flying over into Oregon and other West Coast states, but lowering their cost of manufacturing, incentivizing our manufacturing to move there, hurting our workers.
Senator Cassidy, yes, absolutely. Every single day in this job, I'm thinking about China in one way or another in terms of our footprints in the global economy and in terms of how we relate to each other to bring about a better version of globalization. I know that you are a leading thinker on economic policies and tools that we could bring to bear. I am very interested in continuing to work with you on those items, and in terms of the way that you see the competition and the way that you think about how we need to move beyond past practices and tools and to evolve and bring about new ones. I look forward to continuing this conversation with you and to working with you.
Thank you, Madam Ambassador. I yield.
I was only smiling, Ambassador, because on this committee there are lots of senators who believe that they're being big economic thinkers too. So I just wanted to stick